Hello friends, I'm Colonel Failure and welcome to a brand new series of Transport Fever that I've decided to call Mainline, for reasons that I'm pretty certain will become clear in due course. The map that we're using for this series was created by the game Trent 22 and it's called The Divide. Now I've customized the map a little bit. I've used a seed, which is TheMainLine, but in order to make sure that you get this seed for yourself, you will need to blank all of the original city placements. I'm sure those of you who are not in the know will be able to find out how to do so by bunging a comment in below. Anyway, yes, I've heavily customized this map in terms of the city names, and I have named every single resource producer and manufacturing outlet and every industry you can think of, because everything will be used in this series. This is not an EPEC challenge or anything along those lines. This is something a little bit more robust still, which is we will connect absolutely everything on this map to the main line. And the main line will run in a fairly robust fashion. I've got rules in place with regard to what I am and aren't allowed to build, and how many stops I can do and all of that kind of stuff. And those rules will be revealed to you as time goes on. I'll gradually add more mods to the series, and I'll let you know exactly what I've added every episode. In today's episode, the goal is going to be to set up a couple of trucking routes just to get some money coming in to offset some initial costs. Right then, as much as I have got pork barrels available to me, I do want to get a little bit of industry going to start with in order to make sure I've got cash trickling in. Because big fat passenger lines, they take a little while before they start making you good cash. So I'm looking for a couple of routes ideally, and they're going to be tier 1 freight routes that can distribute to multiple towns. So the first one I've got is going from the Manor Well here over to Globex, which will distribute both to Minas Tirith, Gotham, and possibly, if I decide to push it out to Arkham as well. Maybe the third, maybe not. But let's get that set up right now. Okay, easy peasy. Right, we'll stick the contour lines on, because otherwise someone is bound to yell at me for not sticking the contour lines on. Shall I actually abide by the contour lines? Sure, why not? Might make it a little bit cheaper. Right, see, I've done something clever there by making that a junction. This is the turnaround. Should stop any queuing, probably. Anyway, right, let's continue routing this round onto that. Beautiful, lovely, hook it up. Now then, where's my truck stops? No, where's the one I want? Oh well, we'll use this little thing instead. I mean, after all, this is supposed to be temporary, right? You know, you say you're going to do things temporarily for a great deal of these kind of endeavours, but they end up being somewhat permanent. So if we stick a little bit of road on there, that should mean they can turn around without hassle. Yeah, all right, that's a concept. Let's do the same thing over here. Doesn't hook up very well, does it? No, never mind. I'll stick another turnaround on there. I've no idea whether that's actually practical or not. That's a lump in it. Skinny road? Sure. Why not? That'll do. Yeah, crack on. All right, what's next? Yeah, let's give it a good set of naming, so that I know what's what. It's got a fighting chance, I suppose. Yeah, let's go from there. Okay, so one more thing that I noticed while poking around was that actually, if you look at the catchment area on a bus stop, so a standard bus stop, it looks a bit like that. Okay. Let's match like for like here. So let's find a good location. I'm bound to have one here somewhere. There'll be one. I want somewhere centralish. There we go. All right, let's assume there, right? So if you put a bus stop in there, that's your catchment area. This is, of course, the point at which it's going to show me that I'm entirely wrong. If you stick a truck depot in the same place, does it have the same coverage? Huh, I'm sure when I was experimenting it didn't. Oh well, okay, well that's me giving up on being any kind of an expert. Ignore everything, but there we go. So now then, what we've got is evidently all of this will hook up onto the main line eventually, but to start with, we're gonna truck oil out here, get it processed into fuel, and then we'll truck some out to Minas Tirith. I might build a road that goes out that way. to make it a bit quicker. At the very least, I'll probably upgrade this road so that the trucks can go at full speed. And then truck some to Gotham as well. That should ramp the production quite nicely here at the oil well. I'm part tempted to make the trucks run back and drop off at Gotham itself, but it does take them a little bit out of the way. But at least they're then running both directions. Yeah, all right, that's a smarter thing to do, isn't it? Okay, right. Let's get some upgrading going on here. If I'm bringing them out this way, let's give them a direct route towards town. So now, when it comes to improving town layout, as I surely will later on, I'm going to put a lot more detail into things. And I haven't got the truck depot that I wanted, which is baffling, because I thought I'd done all of them, but it plainly is not the case. I have obviously not done all of them. Will that do it? That should do the trick. So that's not got 100% coverage on industry, but it's got a little bit, and that will do quite nicely for the time being. We'll stick to surface streets here. I think 70 kilometers an hour should be plenty to be getting on with. Now, I am playing pretty fast and loose with regard to costing these things up. I mean, really, sticking a bridge in there is pretty lazy, but you never know. That might become a bit of a feature later on. So I'm gonna roll with it. That could be one of the feature aspects of Gotham. Maybe it isn't, but you never know. And then we'll do a drop off in Minas Tirith as well. So typically the industry is already split, and we will. What should we do? Yeah, well, if we were too much slope, eh? Oh, okay, fine. Be that way. No, hold on. No. What would we do? The smarter move here would be to upgrade this road a smidge. Not all. No. I don't need to upgrade the road that people have built on. Zoom in some more. There you go. Now it's behaving. Uproad this bit, and then no, wrong button. This button. Yes, good. Not that. That. Good. Smashing. Plow on. If we build a bit of road like that, and then link it together with some in-town highway sort of surface road type of deal, give the AI a fighting chance to hang something off that, and I think we'll just go with the Station Entrepôt Logistique Géodis for this one, which I'm sure is something particularly magnificent in French. Or it might just mean truck stop. I could honestly not tell you. And to be honest, it doesn't have the catchment radius anyway. I was potentially being a little bit on the optimistic side there, and it's going to cost me £500,000 if I want to plop it on the hillside. Now, none of these towns are going to come out of this alive. There will be a massive amount of bulldozing, as you will see shortly, in order to get catchment sorted out and so forth. We're going to plough straight into the middle. I'm going to bang that in there, I think. Right, do I want to give this a quick route through the mountains? Well, obviously I do, because this is me we're talking about. But this is not going to be cheap, especially if I'm going to try and run, full on highway out there, which it appears I've started doing. Now, I'm not intending to use pork barrels as any kind of a substitute for profit. I am using them purely to avoid some of the initial expenses I'm likely to incur, or rather to offset those. And I will place the pork barrels right next to the town, so that I know how much each town has cost, and we can pay one town off at a time. I have every intention, as much as I only paid back half of my pork barrels last time, this time I'm going to pay off the lot, because I'm not intending to run this in any kind of cheating fashion. How much? Just, break it to me gently. What are we talking? 5.5 flipping. You've got to be kidding me. Cancel. Give me something you can't do. Right. Okay. Well, so much for that. We'll give them the choice of which way they want to go down there. I suspect they'll probably go through the existing route, rendering this one somewhat redundant. Anyway, right. Let's set these routes up. Although I was going to, in fact, I'm still going to, and we're going to set the route up. Right. So first things first, we will go for a bit of oil. To a bit of oil refinery. To a bit of Gotham action, and that should do nicely. Although they have chosen a curious way round of doing that. I wonder if let's just kill that for a sec. If we spin that round the other way, will it do what I had intended it to do originally? The answer is surely going to be yes. What's the betting I've just spun that round to the direction it was already facing? Hey! There we go. So it's got an in and an out, and that should mitigate some queuing. Right. Okay. So this is going to be. Well, I think we name it after the. Do we name it after the refinery? I think we probably do. So this is going to be VirtueCon. And you'll either get the references or you won't, but references are from flipping everywhere, as you can possibly tell. VirtueCon refining, no, VirtueCon distribution alpha, because there's always room for a spot of Latin. Right, and then the second one will go from VirtueCon out to Minas Tirith. There we go, and this will be VirtueCon, surprisingly, VirtueCon distribution alpha, just on the off chance I do any more than that. No, I was going to call that refining. Yeah, see, that's what I thought I'd called it in my head. Good, I'm off to a really good start here. I've got precious little to actually keep in my mind at this stage, because I haven't done anything yet, and yet here we are with me getting things wrong already. Good. Set a precedent that people can get behind. Right, truck depot, please. Yeah, 1 times road depot. We'll stick it out. We'll stick it out here. I don't see why not. Right, there we go. And let's get some road vehicles. Now, I'll start this off quite casually. We're going to be using... I've got no truck mods built in yet. I will be adding some over time, but we'll start out with vanilla vehicles throughout, and gradually expand the range as we press on. So let's go for 6 of these. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's 1.8 million on 6 trucks. That's scandalous. And we'll stick you on refining. And then we'll go 1, 2, 3, 4. And we'll stick you on distribution. We'll probably need to up the tempo on those relatively quickly. Let's get the game rolling. But we won't go high speed with this. We'll keep it at a leisurely pace for the time being. Right, so now I need to look for another one. Ideally food. Doesn't need to be around here, can be anywhere. What I'm basically looking for is somewhere that has, it's either going to be food or it's going to be construction materials. And yes, you don't get a prize if you spot one that I didn't, because you always spot ones that I don't, because I'm busy talking at the same time. What have we got going on? So yeah, either food or construction materials where the processing side of things is close to as many towns as possible, because that'll keep it nice and efficient. And the hope with this is that it keeps cash trickling in just enough so that when I decide not to, when I decide to just leave it running, we make a profit. Might only be a slender profit, but every line we run here should make money in its own right. I can't believe there isn't another one. I'm sure there was. I used this flipping seed for this map specifically because it had a couple that I could use to get things underway. I don't want to do anything more complicated, because you need steel as well, don't you? Oh no, you could do double plank. Yeah? And then you get what? You get Mega City 1, you probably get Gallifrey. I know we start to blend. You possibly get Hogsmeade as well, and further afield should you decide to do so. Yes, we start to blend planets in here as well as the various fictional cities. But you know, I stopped asking. I felt that to be the safe thing to do. So yeah, so we could go for double planks. It means we're going to get through a lot of planks, but it means that our end result is not going to be stupendous. And to be honest, it is a tougher way of making money. If I was working steel as well, but I don't want to set anything up that's that complicated as the first instance, because it will undermine the fragile beauty that will come on later this series when I start getting the mainline fully up and running. I mean, you've got these going on here, and I don't mind building a bridge, but you get... I mean, basically, you get a very expensive way of distributing some food. Although you do have 3 cities to play with. Okay, I think this is it. Right. This is going to be quite an expensive setup. Okay, so let's get some upgrades in first. Right, let's do that. Then let's do the other side as well. Well, don't do the bit that you're colliding. Just do bits you can do, and you can leave the bits that you think are too difficult. All right? How's that sound? Look at this wiggly rubbish. Okay, right, good. Now, bridge. Cheap, please. I'd like the cheapest bridge you can possibly offer me, and a relatively straight connection. I'll tell you what, we'll island hop to get there. Let's do that, because that'll be cheaper overall. What are you collisioning? Stop collisioning. It's silly. Well, yes. Given that we are flush. I mean, we're at water level here. I can't see this being the safest way to proceed ever. And are we likely to need this for shipping later on? You know, I think we might. Although, given how close that's going to be to the line, I think we'll end up probably either trucking or... Really, yeah. Where I was going with that was we'll probably either use trucks or trains to move that. Kind of go as opposed to what? On-land hovercraft? You know, someone escorting the goods on the back of a skidoo? What other means had you got up your sleeve there, rocket scientist? To which I say, all right, you know, you being facetious, stop being funny a couple of minutes ago. Going, oh, no, please, don't let us stop you. I mean, it sounds like you've got a genius idea going on for some fanciful mode of transportation that we're not previously aware of. Right, okay, yeah, there we go. Wiggle it up the hill, spending too much money, and we're golden. I think we'll try... Is there an arrow on here to give me a hint, or shall I just get it wrong the first time and then spin it around? If we put it like this, right, like that, bulldoze this bit and that bit, and then we'll plough it in about here, which should be plenty close enough to the what is it? Factory. The restaurant. It should be plenty close enough to the restaurant that we can make that work. And that's not attractive. And then we'll rock a little bit of side road off here, and I think we might have to go slower speed to make this happen. So we'll rock that off there, like so, and then back round onto the route back home. And you never know, that might work. Might not, but it might. And that's the most hideous lumpiness I've ever come across. No, I'm not settling for it. I did say at the end of the last series that what I was going to do was start smoothing before placing, so that we don't end up with such egregious lumpiness ever again. Now, this is still going to have a certain amount of lumpitude going on, given that we're on a slope, look. I mean, the way to avoid that would be to not build it on the... There we go. The smart thing to do would be to not build it on the slope. Right, let's do that. Stick your truck stop in somewhere flattish. Let's say there, for example. And then hook everything up so that everyone is joyously happy. You get yourself down here. Do it gently. Go on, with a spring in your step and a smile on your face. And then you can hit some high speed as you wiggle out down that way. And then you will slow you down as well. I don't see why not. And then we'll bring you in over here, as much as that makes a T-junction, and that's not something that I'm particularly pleased with. And we'll rock it back out again. Do about there. There you go. And I know this is temporary, right? I'm going to move all of this lot. This'll all get shut down later. You can feel free to remind me of that when the time comes. But yeah, all this will be bulldozed and made to look better. But even so, there's no excuse for making it quite so shoddy in the first instance. Right. Obviously, the industrial area here in Alpha Complex is as far away as it's possible to be. Thanks, lads. Appreciate it. Let's just stick a quick cheeky truck stop out here. Now look, I thought I'd save you a comment. You were about to start typing, oh look, he's trying to place a truck stop for the delivery of food within the industrial area. Ho, 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 that's not going to work. Yeah, I know. I spotted it afterwards. Bizarrely enough, this line actually worked with the delivery set up for industrial. But I went back and redid it anyway, because you might as well try and get things right second time, right? Anyway, I'll show you both bits just so you can see. Yeah. Go on, go on, go on, go on. There you go. And no, I'm still not going to drop it at bus stops yet. I will do later on, because I'm going to use the in-town trucking routes to make this happen. Right, where are we here? All over the shop, obviously. Well, I think this corner here would probably be the optimum placement point, but it is going to want its own dedicated route. And given that it's not far off, I think we'll distribute to LV426 as well, because the local inhabitants do have a tendency to get a mite peckish. Right, we'll just go for the high value stuff, right? Oh, I'm sure I could reach a little bit more with that. If we were to tactically take out, I don't know, this bit. Well, I didn't want to take out all of it. That's extreme. Give me some town-based roadage. Let's see if we can just get rid of one. Three is more than I really want to take out. That's two. All right. Well, if you're, I mean, it's a yellow one, which means it's a high impact building. Come on, I don't want to take out flipping all of it. I'll take out these two. £500,000 down the drain. But we'll make it all back. I'm a business mogul. And as such, we're just going to make an absolute ruddy fortune. Right, okay, so that gives us 3 distribution endpoints. Oh, Miranda's not a million miles off either, but gives us 3 distribution points here, all of which have a vaguely science fiction, well, you say vaguely, all of which have a science fiction theme going on. Oh, well, we're going to need one next to the farm as well, just FYI. How do you want to do that? We want to do it in a way that means that local traffic won't interfere with it too badly. So if I've got that right, I possibly haven't, but there's no way of knowing until I've placed it, then trucks can swing in, no problem at all, and then swing out is where they'll get the queue. It's got as much chance of being right as anything else. No, you see, you've made a hash of that. Do it again, but better. There you go. Go like that, and then wiggle around that way, because you're also going to want to wiggle around this way to avoid creating yet further queues for yourself. And why are we using this cheeky, cheerful 60 km/h budget business? Up the tempo. Get your tempo upped. As much upping of tempo. You've put country road going into town there. Not sure how the AI is going to respond to that. Anyway, let's route up So here we're going to need, nice to see, 0 profit happening over there so far, but we haven't actually advanced that far yet. Right, we need 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, right, fine. Right, you from here, yes, to there. Arguably you've made that complicated for yourself, but this is Wonka Factory, a fine producer of comestibles. This is going to be Wonka, you're not distributing, Wonka production. Good. Now, I'm probably going to come unstuck with all of this later on. You might have spotted why already, but just in case you haven't, I'll probably come unstuck because all of these fantastical locations that are production based give absolutely no indication of where they are geographically, and as much as it's setting the scene really rather marvelously, it isn't going to help me find them later on. But hey, it's all part of the adventure. Right, so this is going to be Wonka distribution alpha. Latin, man, might be a dead language, but it's still cool. Right, and out here, see, we've got no idea where they're going. Could be going anywhere. Wonka distribution, bravo. And then from here, this is a bit of a... it's not so bad. I mean, arguably we could have made the trucks do a stop off there as well, but I think I'm going to set this one as dedicated, and we'll see how we get on. Wonka distribution, Charles. Good. Right, now then, buy me some trucks or else. We'll go with a bit of road that I smoothed, because I smoothed it for exactly this purpose, among others. In fact, we'll start it there, since this is largely an empty area of road. Right, what are we going to need? So, production's going to need 6, I reckon. Right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Wonka production. And who should we do next? Right, kill that. That's it. I want to keep production open. Next, we'll do, what do you think? 4 on Charlie. Let's do 4 on each of them. 1, 2, 3, 4. I know they're slightly different distances. 1, 2, 3, 4. And that one's on Bravo. 1, 2, 3, 4. And that one's on Alpha. Right. Good. Yes. And then I want to paint them kind of yellowish to show that they're bringing in grains and happy foods of some description. Look, it's a sound justification in my head. We'll see how we get on. Right, okay, I'm going to advance now by about a year so that these routes kick off, and then we'll see where we're up to. So here we are up at the Wonka factory. A year has passed. I paid all of the leftover cash that I had last year into paying down my loan just a little. Obviously, I don't like to pay any more interest than I absolutely have to. But as you can see, we've got some pickup in terms of goods ready to be distributed. And actually, this doesn't tell the whole story. To tell you a larger portion of the story, let's trot down here to the farm itself at 12 Oaks. And as you can see, the production count is actually pretty good. We've got plenty of goods waiting to be picked up, and I actually bought more trucks to run this line. Yes, I'll show you the numbers in a minute. And then as you head over to the oil side of the business, as you can see, that's going really rather nicely as well. Here we go, and 127 waiting. So there's capacity in there for me to up the truck count. But what you actually want to know is, are we making any money? The answer is yes, we very much are. So we've got 2 lines that haven't hit profit just yet, and they're the 2 later food lines. I did spot that I'd put 2 sets of trucks onto Charlie rather than onto Alpha rather than splitting them between Alpha and Charlie. Standard mistake right there, but I spotted it quite quickly. But as you can see, it's the higher rate lines that are actually making me the cash at the moment. So if I were to beef up the two that aren't doing quite so well, we'd probably get somewhere. That said, pure throughput of raw materials will do the job as well. But even with these two that aren't doing quite so hot at the moment, we're very close to 2 million a year in terms of actual profit. And that's splendid. That's more than enough to keep us going in the short term. If I pile some more trucks in there, it will probably make even more money still. If I added a third city to Virtucon's distribution, that would also help on that front. If we bring up the overall profit graph, because I mean the other thing to bear in mind, of course, is that I do have to offset all the spending that I've done so far, and the spending totals. Well, I mean, if you look at the net company value of 15.4 million in debt, basically means I've made 4.6 million to date. That could be worse. I've brought in 4.6 million, and we've got further we can go with that as well. So the money coming in, pretty good. The money going out, not quite offsetting it as of yet, but that will come sure enough. Right, so I've set up another couple of routes, and we've gone for a food production line that runs between Mos Eisley and Alpha Complex and LV426. Now, when I initially set this up, I got it completely wrong because I'd stuck truck terminals down in the industrial area, which is terrific if you're delivering industrial goods. Not so much when you're delivering food. No. And I didn't just do it here, I did it in all three towns, like some kind of ruddy genius who's new to this stuff. So instead, I've used the side truck stops. No, it's not a bus stop, they're truck stops. Look, see, truck stops, it's legit. I haven't broken my golden rule, mostly. And those will pay off. I am utterly convinced of it. So we've done the same thing in Mos Eisley, as you can see here. Wretched hive of scum and so forth, and we've done the same thing up in Alpha Complex as well. If that weren't enough to whet one's food appetite, the last route that I've got set up runs between Shermer, Illinois, and Pleasant View, and it's another food route. So we're picking up from here and getting it processed, dropping off in both towns. And again, we've gone for the side of street kind of drop off. Now the downside to that, you can probably observe already, is we're bringing this stuff in through an incredibly crowded, as much as I like the eerie blue, I think we'll probably turn it off, through an incredibly crowded stretch of road, and that's not going to be efficient over the long term. But these are not intended as a long-term solution. This is a short-term fix. Just to keep the money rolling in while we actually start developing the mainline overall. There we go. So let's have a look and see how they're doing. Now, this new one out by Shermer and Pleasant View, that's only just been set up. But as you can see, the money is splendid. Everything's working. Even the Wonka distribution lines, they're even working despite the fact that I got them put in the wrong place to start with. So they're only just now starting to register the correct routes. But even then, they're in the green. So we're over 2.6 million in the green per year. Pretty straightforward stuff. Not a massive amount of investment. I mean, not an insignificant amount of investment. But I could be spending more as well. If we go and have a look at Wonka production, for example, let's head out over here. Thank you. You'll see, and I'm half expecting, and I'm wrong. What I was hoping here is that we'd have an absolute ton of stuff waiting to be picked up. Not quite, and it's because I've literally just moved the drop-off points. So it's going to take a minute or two for those to percolate through. Anyway, hey, look, I've started off on the right foot here by completely cocking up my initial my initial setup. And we're going to continue to go from strength to strength as the series progresses. So next time around, what we're going to do to start off with is we're going to start the main line. And having had a reasonable look around the map now, I actually quite liked the run of Asgard, Sherma, Pleasant View as my initial starting point, because I want to get this corner in. And then we'll go from there. Now, as mentioned at the top of this video, no route involving passengers is going to go longer than 3 stations. In fact, they're all going to go 3 stations, and then they'll terminate at the 3rd before backing up on themselves. I've got an idea as to how this is going to come off, but it should mean really good in terms of frequency. Really good. Seriously, man, you credit yourself with a vocabulary. Why don't you flex that a little bit? Sublime frequency. That's better. And it should be quite profitable quite quickly. Fingers flipping crossed. Once we've extended out beyond that, so if I do 3 at a time, is what I'm thinking, around the perimeter to start with. So the second set would probably be Pleasant View, Atlantis, Minas Tirith. That's an expensive run, that one. Or we could go the other way. So Asgard to, what, Gallifrey? No, it doesn't make any sense. You'd go Asgard to Hogsmeade, maybe Trumpton, maybe Pseudopolis. If we're going one main line, I think we go Hogsmeade. So Asgard, Hogsmeade, Mega City 1 would be the next one to continue back round the perimeter towns first, and then Megacity 1, Gallifrey, Miranda, and then Mos Eisley, Alpha Complex, New York, I suppose. But we'll figure that out as we go. The inner lying stuff will all be connected up correctly, but we'll just have to see how we get on with that. Anyway, that's going to wrap it up for today. I have been Colonel Failure. Subscribe to make sure you don't miss out on the series, because the series is not going to wait for you. So you might want to, tune in, get dialed up, get flexing, all that kind of business, and fling a like at this if you've a notion that it's going to be an entertaining one. I certainly I'm itching to get cracking on this. Thanks for watching. I'll catch up with you very soon. Cheerio! Yeah, apparently I turn up at the end of these now as well. Someone said it'd be a good idea to show my happy smiling face. If you haven't subscribed already, subscribe. I used to put a subscription button at the end of these videos, It used to come down with a little bit of a plinky noise and all. It was beautiful. Absolutely solid work. Nobody ever clicked it. Complete waste of time. So I'm turning up to do it personally. Click the subscribe button, otherwise you'll miss out on what's happening next. And you've made it this far, what's wrong with you? I do stuff that isn't just trains, right? I do other things as well. They're pithy. They're funny. They're just some of it, maybe, depending on your sense of humour, I suppose. But, you're still here now, so you can't... you're better. Anyway, look, here's a couple that I've selected that might be appropriate to you. Click one or get out.